Hi, everyone. My name is Renee Beth Poindexter, and I am here as a part of our Lifewave community. And I have the great pleasure and honor of spotlighting new friend. Actually, we've been building friendship for over a year now, is Dawn Castagna. And Dawn comes to us from Connecticut, and she has been in the, let's say, health field for over 30 years. And she has a story that is quite phenomenal. And I'm going to support her in revealing this story through a process of questions, like an interview. But she has a lot to say, and we'll probably go back and forth. And I want to acknowledge Don Poriello for being here as the man behind this curtain who's organizing the sound and the lighting and, whatever else we need to do to look good. So thank you, John, for making all this work and for recording it. So, Dawn, thank you for being in my life. It's just a pleasure being with you. I have been interested in personal growth and development for many, many years in my work as a teacher and a coach and a facilitator for positive change. But I must tell you, my first career that I wanted to do was to be a nurse.
Mm.
But I learned early on, I couldn't, when my grandfather died, I realized I couldn't deal with death very well. I thought, I don't think I can be a nurse. So when I meet people like you and hear your story of the journey that you've been on, both in your life and also your wellness journey, it gives me great pleasure to have that understanding and help other people know what a difference one person can make. So, Dawn, we're titling this Your Wellness Journey, but wellness and well-being covers a lot of ground. You tell us a little bit about where you're from, how many years did you spend as a nurse, and your work in personal growth and development.
Sure. Thank you, Renee Beth. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's been a pleasure to get to grow and develop with you in the last year or so. And I come from Long Island, still living on Long Island. I've been a nurse for 30 years. And I still do work in the corporate world, doing nursing. I'm a corporate leader in a second largest company in the world that actually does 27 different industries, one of them which is healthcare, and I lead that healthcare division from a implementation and operations standpoint. And I love what I do, although I actually love what I do with Lifewave now as well. So right now I'm riding both waves, corporate world and life wave world. I do see Lifewave as a vehicle in the next 2 to 3 years for me to exit corporate and maybe be a consultant and have some freedom and have an early retirement, spend some time with my wife and my family. Um, so what else was I supposed to answer in that
Okay.
question?
Well, the idea is, what was it, in terms of you're a very busy person. I think, you're more than what you do, it's who you be.
Hmm.
In your life. You're married, you have children. Tell us a little bit about your
Yeah,
background.
yeah. I'm married to Pat Castagna, who's also on this call. Many people do know her. And we've been actually together for 30 years and legally married for, I don't know, whatever the math is of 2012 to now, 13 years, I guess. We have a blended, amazing family, which is where some of the busyness comes in, right? There's 7 adult children, all are or were married, and they've blessed us with 18 grandchildren, ranging in the ages of 4 through 24.
Yeah,
So we are very busy. We've got lots of communions,
yeah,
confirmations, baptisms, all sorts of things,
exactly.
and it's fun.
Well, there's some driving motivation for you that is about giving back and helping others. Is that what made you decide to become a nurse?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of that late teenage guilt. My mom, when I was 14, was diagnosed with cancer, and she passed when I was 18. And it was a wicked 4 years. And I was being a teenager, as I could see now as an adult. But at the time, after she passed, I thought, wow, I gotta do something because I didn't do anything during this time. So that coupled with being a single parent, young, and before meeting Pat, had me motivated to become a nurse and give back. It was like I have to give to others that what I didn't necessarily maybe show up to give for my family. Now that was an, 18, 19, 20-year-old thinking. Today I could see that, I was doing what I was supposed to do essentially. I was being a 14, 18-year-old, but that was really the impetus for nursing. And then it was also a good salary to raise the single mom family now to get started with. So it was those
Absolutely.
combination of
Yeah,
those two
yeah,
things.
yeah. And so when you reflect back on your health career, you've been in the system, so to speak, and like a lot of caretakers that we've met along the way, nurses, doctors, health providers, when we ask them about self-care, I actually just had a conversation with another nurse who is in mostly hospice. I asked her what her self-care program was, and
Mm,
she goes, "That's a tough question to answer."
yeah.
How would you respond to that in terms of your awareness around self-care as you were taking care of so many people?
Yeah. I mean, how I respond to it today is very different than how it was before I got here. So over the years, to me, self-care was, and I still have to be reminded today of that it's not this, is, taking care of others, right? And the word self is left out of there. Today, I can do things like take time off, take a vacation, just sit and do nothing, or go for a massage, or, do some of those, flip through social media on, I'm not a Netflix watch the series kind of girl, but I am just surf through social media and do nothing, right? So those are some of the self-care measures for me, or drink my water, add my Celtic salt, go to the gym. Like those things today were not existent all along this
Right,
pathway.
right. And then you added the Lifewave technology, the regenerative technology. But let's backpedal a little bit to back to 2019.
Hmm.
You had kind of a wake up call. There's several for the people listening here. Donna's had several, let's say, benchmarks that shifted her awareness about what was necessary for her own self-care. And you mentioned it started back in 2019. Could you tell us a little bit about what was happening back then?
Yeah, I mean, in 2019, I turned 50, and I thought to myself, I'm 338 pounds. I continue to meet the high levels of normal in blood pressure, glucose levels, cholesterol levels, and I'm good, right? But when I look in the mirror and how I the agony in my body, physically, my limitations, how I go up and down the stairs is one step at a time, and I just grew into, well, this is what it looks like when you're 50 and 338 pounds. Like one step at a time is normal. Um, and I decided I should go for a cardiology preventative visit. We should get a baseline, right? This was like nurse thinking, right? We should get a baseline. So if
Mhm.
someday something happens, they know where it came from or if there was clean slate or not. And everything was great. I mean, I did the $1 million cardiology workup. Everything was great. And the doc said to me, look, looking at you here in front of me in person and looking at you on paper is like two different patients. If you were to see anybody in my practice right in this same hallway, they would put you on the triple threat of medication preventatively for cholesterol, for sugar, and for blood pressure. I'm not going to do that if you're willing to make a lifestyle change. So, well, what does that look like? He said, well, it starts with you actually destroying the bibliography of diets that you've done, because that's not the solution for you. I
Wow.
said, okay, got that. What else? He said, you really actually need to transition your lifestyle to whole food plant-based eating. And I thought, okay, since I had the 32-year-old diagnosis that we won't say the term of here already, that was a genetic form in the family, I thought to myself, I could really do away with the meat and chicken, and but I don't know if I can give up fish. And so we started the negotiating of don't worry about the fish, got to give up the meat, you got to give up the dairy, etc. And I said, okay, I don't know how it's going to work with my wife. So he said, eat everything that she cooks on the side if she wants to continue eating meat, but have her become my patient, and that won't be a problem anymore. And so from there, the journey began in whole food, plant-based eating. And it really didn't get to that too quickly. It did get immediately to eliminating meat and fish out of the diet, but it never gave up ice cream. I never gave up dairy. As a matter of fact, I was addicted to ice cream, and I love everything Parmesan. And I love everything with Parmesan cheese and mozzarella and all of that. So every time I would go to him, I would have palpitations just to go to the visit, knowing what he was going to say. And many times it was, "How's those bagels doing?" And I was like, "Oh my God, are you in my kitchen?" He's like,
Right.
"The worst food to eat." And so anyway, that was from 2019 to 2022. And at one point, my wife did become his patient, and she still is today. And he said to her, "Look," he said, "there's no promise here that this lifestyle change will keep her out of the bed and hopefully awake for the conversation that of an event has happened. But this is the only shot she has because the family history and the weight is going to kill her. It's not the numbers on the paper that look okay."
Right.
So that was really all right, I really have to make this work. And I didn't make any progress for 3 years. I just stayed away from meat and fish. And at one point, I looked in the fridge and I said to Pat, "There's not a freaking green thing in this fridge. I think we really should invent a new grouping of food called meat and fish abstinent. That's really what we are right now. We're just avoiding meat and fish." Um, and then it was 2022, all through pandemic, the same story. And then 2022, somebody from a personal growth and development program that I had spent a lot of years in coaching, she said, "Hey, I'd like you to take on this 21-day Daniel fast that my husband, who's a doctor and she's a health coach, is going to start." And I said, "I'm not doing a Daniel fast. That's a religious thing. There's nothing about religious for me." And she said, "I don't care about religion. I've just watched you in the screen not be able to move. You could do anything for 21 days. I know you that way." Well, there was a challenge in there. So I was like, "All right, where do I sign up?" And that's really the beginning of the break. So I kind of rode from 19 to 22 on the fence, if you will, about really making the lifestyle change. And from 22 to now is where life really began. And I've never looked back. And I don't eat dairy except when I go rogue for a moment. But I don't eat meat or fish.
Right.
And I lost 62 pounds in doing that. And I was sick as a dog in the first week or so, but we got to see really metabolically what was going on with my body.
Hmm.
And in day 8 or 9, my body just like let go and I just started to shed the weight. And I finally had a glimmer of hope. Like I finally had a moment in my eye where it was like, oh, I can go back to the gym. I was an athlete all of my younger life. I didn't think I'd get emotional this quick.
Well, you're doing great. The idea of recognizing that there you are in the healthcare system, and like a lot of people in this, who need to have maybe some alternative ways to turn their life around. You decided to change your lifestyle with a plant-based diet. You started to lose, I hate to say the word lose, you released 62 pounds. You didn't want to find
Yeah,
them again, right? And
yeah.
then you started to be able to, have more mobility. And then what happened?
Yeah, so fast forward, it's, a year later, a little less than a year. It's October, it's September or August of 23, and I'm about a year almost into the plant-based life and 60-ish pounds down. And we, my wife and I have a big party every summer. Many people that are here attend, and the $1 million question and statement was, "My God, you look amazing. What are you doing?" And so I'd say what I'm doing, "But why are you limping? But why are you limping? But why are you limping?" And that became the story and the focus. Why are you limping? And so I was like, I got tired of telling the same answer. I wanted to get a megaphone by the end of the night. It's like 100 people party we're talking about. And it was so noticeable that I was dragging around one leg and limping. And The answer to the question was, although I lost all that weight, it wasn't the solution to the bone on bone knee that I had. And I was told 13 years ago I needed to have it replaced. And I wasn't going to do it at the weight I was. I thought that losing weight would be the answer. I waited for that break to happen. Here, that break happened. It's not complete. I still have weight to lose. But I was in pain and I said, I'm going to have to schedule surgery. And John said, I'm coming back tomorrow. I want to talk to you at something. So John and Chelsea came the next day and we went to breakfast. And Chelsea's elbowing John, talk to her, talk to her. And so the patch conversation and Lifewave conversation began. And we came to the house and John patched my leg with Ice Wave. And here as a nurse, I'm like, all right, let me see what these stickers are going to do. Right? And so he put this patch on and he said, I want you to walk from here to the other side of the house. I don't have a big house. I walked about 15 feet and I turned back around and I just looked at my wife and I just remember having tears in my eyes. And I remember thinking and then saying out loud, I don't know whose knee is in this body. And I was very fortunate to be one of the people that some LifeWave users have that experience where they have an immediate energetic connection and immediate pain relief or immediate some kind of relief of some kind of symptom they're dealing with. And I was one of those. And John said, great, take these 4 days, take a look at this website, and then let's get you ordering. And I want you to do this, 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 and this. And I was going on a business trip and I was doing that every 2 weeks. I was flying to Florida. And I fly for 5 days. I fly there. I stay for 5 days. I come back. I wash, repack, fly back. It's what I was doing the whole year of 23. It's a long, taxing effort if you've been through airports, and if you've been to
Yeah.
Tampa Airport in particular, that's a lot when you have need a knee replacement. And I would normally just be shot by the time I get into the hotel room, and I would talk to Pat barely as I was crawling into bed, and I was swallowing two more Aleve because I was living on Aleve, 2 doses of Aleve, pushing the max of everything. That's how Dawn does a lot of things in life. 2 doses every day for a solid, I don't know how many years, right? And I got in the airport that day and I had my patches on that Jonna gave me the next day that I had left for the flight. And I got to the rental car. I got in the car, I called Pat. I go, what are you doing? She's like, well, you sound great. What's going on with you? I said, I don't know, but I sure hope some of my colleagues are here because I'm ready to go out drinking tonight. And she was like, what do you mean? Like, you're usually crawling in the bed. And I said, yeah, I don't know, man, but these patches, I don't know what to say, honey. I just can say that I looked at my watch. I said, I've walked over 10,000 steps already and I feel amazing. I don't even feel my knee. And she's like, oh, all right. And that was that. She goes, well, I guess if you're going out, I'll talk to you tomorrow because I probably won't hear from you tonight. And that's how the night went. And I went out with friends that night, first time ever on a business trip that I ever get to do that. And even comments from where I was on site at the business, place that I was working. Usually I have to excuse myself to the bathroom, stand up, crawl, hold on to the conference table all the way to the door, grab the doorknob, grab the wall, go down the hall to get to the
Wow.
bathroom. Like that was my normal engagement to get to the bathroom. Instead, I popped up at the conference room table. I bolted out the door. I said, I'll be right back. Bolted out the door, went to the bathroom, came back. And they were all like, what the hell? What the heck? And they were all talking. And I go, what are you guys talking about? And they're like, what? How come you're able to spring out to the bathroom? Like, what's going on? And I said, I don't know. I have these patches on my leg, first time. I can't talk about them. I don't know anything about them. Let's just continue with the meeting. And that's how it went. And then reality set in. Day 5
Okay.
to come home, and I had no patches left. And I came home in tears that night in the same position that I normally would be. The party was over. There was no more patches. There was no order yet, and there was no patches. Um, and so fast forward, I took some time to do some clinical research because my wife was, I'm retired, leave me alone. I'm not using patches. I'm not looking at any products. I'm not going to have a business. I'm not doing any of that. And I was like, okay, I did some research. I did what I needed to do. Like 5 weeks in, I said to her, okay, I've done everything I need to see about this product. I'm going to proceed forward. And are you in or are you not? And she said, I don't know, put on a video that you think is good that I should watch. And I did. And she was chopping vegetables and cooking dinner. And I had it on in the living room. And all of a sudden, she was sitting on the couch next to me. And
Yeah.
she saw something, heard something, and said to me, okay, pause the video. I paused it. It was like 23 minutes in, and she said, how do we get started? And from there, our LifeWave um, life began. And again, like a next level of wellness began and self-care for me. And I started to share and talk with people about it. And I had 8 amazing weeks on patches. And I started to make plans for a trainer, for the gym, to take again the next level up. And all of a sudden, one day in the middle of November, I had a dot on my lip. And I was like, what is that? I'm a little old to get pimples. That's crazy. And from there, that little dot got bigger and got uglier. And it just kept growing, opening, closing, growing. I'm not going to say the word, you can figure out what it was. But by the time it became emergency surgery in January of 24. And it was scary surgery. It was, we don't know, we might have to zip your lips closed. We might with reconstruction of your face. Like this whole entire side of my lip was going to be removed. Um, it was the wildest experience. As nurses that we both are, neither of us could do anything other than pray and take the next step. And it didn't include anything we would have it include, which would mean second opinions, going to big teaching centers, all of that. We didn't have time for any of that. My face was being eaten up. And when the doctor first diagnosed it, when she walked in the room and I won't say the explanatory that she screamed out, a four-letter word, and she was so upset. She had been treating me and seeing me for 18 years. She said, I don't know what these things are that are on you, but you got to stop that because I don't understand it. I don't know it. You have a genetic form of a mutation that's a problem for you. You just got to pause on that. And I just looked at her and I remember being so scared about what was on my face and what was next. But at the same time, I respected her and I only been using it for 8 weeks. I knew how I felt. So I was like, okay. And that was that. I kind of paused. And LifeWave does recommend that you consult with your trusted professional. And that's exactly what happened there. And so I took that word and I said, fine. And we went forward with emergency surgery. And slowly my pains, my aches, my sleep got worse. All the things that I had before, that 8 week of glimmer of hope was gone. And now I was fighting for my face. I can't say fighting for my life, but I could say fighting for my face, not knowing what it would look like. And all the surgery got done. Fast forward, I'm recovering. I'm just training myself and learning. I'm still building my team for LifeWave during this whole period because I was very clear that this is a hope for health and wellness that could accompany your medical needs in a way that patients would have and clients could have freedom for their health care and for their health. So I was very committed to the product. I just knew it was paused for me. And I started to get worse. My weight got static. I didn't lose any less anymore. But I kept building my team. And um, middle of the summer of 24, we think that maybe there's more bad things in that lip there. We don't know what we need to do. And I started seeing a whole sequence of docs again, so it was a real test of truth, of faith that I didn't really feel like I ever really had, but I always believed in something in the universe. I did a lot of praying in these months and a lot of gratitude for having a lip that's very tiny. I don't love how it looks still, but I'm adapting to it. It's probably got a future of a different look in the future, but not yet. And I started seeing a sequence of docs and they all said, get out of here. We're not doing anything. We're just going to wait and watch. And I started asking, hey, I'm using these phototherapy patches. Here's what they do, blah, 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 blah. What do you think? And nobody was willing in at that level of care that I was getting to say, no, you can't use that. They all just basically said, there's no reason. It's phototherapy. There's nothing going in your skin. And we got the best answer from the last guy I talked to. He was a head and neck surgeon, and he said, you got to use your gut, but I have no reason to say that this caused anything. If anything, this helps to heal some cells. And Pat and I looked at each other like, all right, thank you, appreciate that. Fast forward, I went to the convention or the conference in November of 24 and met David Schmidt, the owner, inventor, and CEO himself. And I've been to many conventions as a professional, and I've never cried in in so much in a convention. This guy just demonstrated for me the humanity, the sincerity, the humanity, the anthropology, like leading guy that he is, that I was on the right path and that these patches belong in my life. And it was in that convention that Dr. Pat Barrington was here. I picked up those patches and started using them again. And I got another glimmer of hope. And fast forward today, I train 4 to 5 times a week in the gym. I went a trainer twice a week. My weight is static. My size is getting smaller. And I'm just on my journey to my next level. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., I get a body composition scan done, and I'm going to start working with a body composition scan person. And I'm just stoked about what the future offers. And I love that I get to share this with many of the people on this call and many of the people who have come along the journey with me and many who have not yet
Mm.
and will.
What I love about your story, for a lot of people, it's like this is such cutting edge technology, this
Yeah.
photobiomodulation and the regenerative master cells of the body. And it's like we're a wellness appliance, we're not a drug. So the thing is, we don't treat, diagnose, cure, mitigate any disease state. But the science is validating the body is a living system and can rebuild, repair, and regenerate. And you, I keep every time I hear your story, Dawn, I think of you like straddling two worlds, right? You're in mainstream and then you're on the alternative. And at the same time, adopting what does it mean to be your own best expert and asking for support based on where you want to go. And I think that is the leader of who you have been becoming ever since you were a leader in Landmark and many other locations. You know, you are a facilitator for leadership, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to lead yourself from the inside out. And I think your story is amazing. I just want to, I know we're going to open it up to some questions and answers here in a second. But I wonder if there's a lot of people that would say, I don't know, this is so cutting edge. I'm going to wait and see how it works for me before I help other people. What would your answer be to people that say that? Because you were helping so many people when you couldn't really do the product the way you wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can always wait, right? I don't know what you'd be waiting for. Tomorrow we have today, tomorrow's never promised. And if there's anything that I'm an example of is that, living in the moment is what had me be able to pivot each time. If I left anybody with anything around what there is to do is there's no other way to repair, heal, regenerate your cells from the inside out. There's no other way to do it. There's so much evidence and science that's been done in this product that it's mind blowing. I mean, I've read, been part of research studies. I'm currently part of research studies in my maintenance of my diagnosis from when I was 32. This is sound technology. There's evidence. I've seen the evidence around me. I can read the evidence. My wife's story, she'll be on this spotlight next week at this time. You'll hear the amazing information from her about her journey. Um, don't wait. I
Yeah.
just would say don't wait. There's
Yeah.
there's just your body and your cells, you have no idea the damage we do environmentally, nutritionally. You think you do the right things. I'm not here to say you should never take medications. I am here to say I have not taken an Aleve, or a Tylenol or any over-the-counter medication since October of last year because I actually get to have patch support me even when I had 103 fever and the flu.
Right. That's
I got to use
amazing.
patches.
That's amazing.
So give your cells a break and elevate your health. That's what I would say that you
There
have
you
the
go.
opportunity to do
Right.
is elevate your health.
Right. And thank you for trusting your intuition. And I think your final words, and then we'll open it up to question. What are two or three things that you would say people to trust themselves more, trust their intuition about what their body is telling them? What else would you suggest?
Um, yeah, I mean, trust yourself, do your research. Don't do as much research as I did. Just trust that I did the research for you. I'm a crazy quality assurance nurse, right, who leads health plans and trust me, I did the research for you. Um, I would say um you have nothing to lose. This is not a quick fix. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to give a commitment for 6 months to 12 months or so before you can tell me that, hey, this doesn't work for me. It's a very small percentage statistically of the millions of people that are using this. A global product, 82 countries, manufactured in the United States and shipped from the United States as well. It's very, very small
Right.
percentage of uh,
Right.
ineffectiveness. It's less than 4%.
Right.
So
Exactly.
give yourself a shot.
Right. Thank you. And just a correction, the product is manufactured in Ireland
Oh, thank
and
you.
it's shipped globally. And thank you, Don. Okay.
Thank you for that.
John, should we open it up to Q&A?
Absolutely.
Would you like to take that on?
Yeah, Gloria's got her hand up. So let's add
Yeah,
Gloria.
yes. First of all, I think it's a tribute to Dawn. Look at everybody who's here. I just saw it on Facebook. I said, what is she up to? Who does this? Everybody, I know everybody on this thing. I just want to say, I've been using the lower back patches for 19 years. What do you think about that? So that
Lifewave patches, Gloria?
the ice wave. This is
Okay.
the one I went to a dance weekend 19 years ago, and the woman came over and said, "Do you have back pain?" So I put those patches on. It's like it was pretty much automatic. That's my go-to. I have a bad back, but I can't live without those patches. But I just want to say another thing. And I did the whole Meryl sure. I did the whole program at a different point. And truly, I'm just saying, for me, it didn't do anything for me. But I swear by my Ice Wave lower back, I can't live without them. I have to order more of them. It's and it is instant. It's like unbelievable. I can
Awesome.
I have no pain from that. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great to
I
hear.
trust.
Somebody using it
Yep,
19 years. That's amazing.
19 years.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you. So, brings up something here. How we help people learn about this product is we educate and empower people, and they can buy directly from the company at wholesale. We suggest that you get back to the person that invited you to be here.
And we
And
have a
it'll show
couple
you
other questions.
it'll show you how to do that directly. And then if you're interested in learning how to help other people, we have free training and support and leadership development and helping you get paid to be healthy. Okay, next question.
From Diana Perez, you want to come off mute and come on camera, please?
I'm driving, but I just have a question. Thank you so much for sharing your story. That's very courageous and brave of you. My question is, do you think the growth on your lip was the process of detoxifying your body?
No, it's directly correlated and connected back to my genetic, um, what do I call it? Nina, help me.
Your genetic makeup?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
It is directly correlated
Position.
back to that.
Okay.
Done, able to be proven by genetic testing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And iPhone 15 Pro has a question.
That's me. My name is Tara. I can't come on video because I'm in the dark.
Okay.
But thank you for sharing your wonderful story. I appreciate it. And you did a great job, by the way. I'm an orthopedic PA, and I just was wondering because you told me it took away your knee pain. So I'm just being really inquisitive about, because as I see patients every day with like bone on bone, how the process would like work. Because if there's no cells or cartilage there, how possibly could now you regenerate anything? Like, because you still need a total knee replacement.
Uh, as far as I sit in the position of,
Hmm.
I do clinically and I
Hmm.
don't physically. There's no reason I would do it right now. There's no limitations for me. If you, I'm sorry, was your name Tracy, did you say?
No, Tara.
Tara, sorry.
That's okay.
The science is simple. It's photobiomodulation. It's the same type of science that works for go out in the sun and have the sun hit your skin and have your body produce vitamin D3. So it's that science, and whoever invited you could definitely get you some studies and get you the, information that you'd want clinically. I'm happy to talk to you as well about it. But in the essence of here, I'll just leave it at it's photobiomodulation. And am I still bone on bone? Absolutely. Have I started yet to do some strategies using patches that have been known to regrow cartilage? I haven't started that yet, and I will be on to that soon. But right now, I'm just doing the alleviation and elimination of pain using the patches that way.
Right. And I would just say, Tara, there is, when you learn a little bit more, the X39 is a patch that actually works with the whole master cell system.
Hmm.
And X49 is the sister patch that works with bone health, brain health, and heart health. And both of them are activating peptides in the body that activate the master cell or stem cell system. So there's studies, double-blind, placebo-controlled, independent clinical studies
And
that
that
will,
all actually that all makes sense to me, but I feel like once you're at the bone on bone stage, and yeah, of course, I have patients that are bone on bone and don't have tremendous amount of pain, and I don't recommend them getting a total knee replacement if they don't have the pain. So someone like you, but of course, there becomes deformity and a lot, comes down the road, especially with increased weight. So if someone loses
Sure.
weight. But I feel like once you're there with the bone on bone, it could just progress and get a lot worse, even though the pain's not there. So that's why I was just asking the question.
right?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And the last piece too, Tara, is that I'm starting to discover and learn for myself is maybe we don't focus enough from an orthopedic standpoint on how much involvement does the back have and the hips with the knee. And for me, it's very much I
Tremendous.
control my back and I control my hip flexors and my groin. My knee pain is incredibly resolved. And I have a few body workers on here that I actually see personally who do a great job at helping me to do that, and my knee pain is minimally, residually is left with a little bit to deal with. And then I just handle the pain with the ice wave that Gloria was pointing to. And I also use glutathione, which is a master antioxidant in our body already.
And
So
that's a great statement. That
yeah.
was the best statement because I totally agree. And I use that in my practice every single day. It's the
Oh, it's
whole
good to hear
body.
that. I'm glad
Yep.
to hear that because
Yep.
these knees are the center of something, but everything is pulling at it in both directions. So
A
I'm glad
hundred
to hear
percent
that clinically.
correct.
Thank you for
Yep.
sharing that you're using that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Right. And Tara, we're having a special gathering with David Schmidt, who's the chief
Mm.
founder and scientist, with people of your stature that may want to learn more. So please get back with Dawn or anyone here that invited you, and we'll make sure that you get access to that information.
Okay. Thank you so much. And thank
Right.
you, Dawn.
Yeah, thanks, Tarek. I love the question.
Thank you.
All right. Nadia has her hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, it's Nidia, almost. Don, thank you again so much for sharing your story. Very courageous, and it's just wonderful to hear your healing journey and just to continue the hope. And I just love the phrase that you used. But so I just want to clarify what you just talked about, that you haven't not started like the rebuilding of the cartilage and stuff. So does that mean that you're not doing the X39 and 49 right now?
I am using X39. When I took
Okay.
patches back on, what I did was took it back on at a stepped and staged approach. I didn't go all full gung ho with everything.
Okay.
X39 was the one that my doc at first, because of how much work it does with the master cells, was hesitant about.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
X39 has been my last to reintroduce in from October till now.
Okay.
And then X49, after I get my next CAT scan, I do every 6-month CAT scans to check these little roaming cells that are still there. So that'll be in June. I think the end of June, I get that next CAT scan. Once I got the all clear in that CAT scan, I'm going to go ahead with X49. So right now I am not using X49. I am just using X39, glutathione, Icewave, Eon. What am I missing?
Harnessing.
Energy enhancers and carnosine.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. And then kind of like on the second part, do you feel that the patches are helping you at all? Or I don't know if you can even really test that with the whole issue that you had with your lip.
Well, interesting you say that, because if I didn't tell my story, I imagine you would say you couldn't see anything on my lip, right? And I
Right.
had
Right.
massive
I know.
revision and reconstruction surgery. I mean, if you
Wow.
like OR pictures, I could show you OR pictures that look like a Halloween picture. I mean, my lip, half of my lip was gone in surgery, and it got
Wow.
reconstructed. So, to that point, this is the result of the healing process that these patches have done. Hard to tell I have a scar. Sure, I have a little lip.
Mhm.
And I still now am having nerve regeneration happening. Once I started the X39 back up, I was like, wow. And the lip is doing what we call falling down. So what was up really tight from surgery is now really
Mhm.
falling down a lot. So which is why it's very thin. If I showed you pictures gradually month by month over month, you'd be like, wow, like what I was left with after surgery is now even thinner, because the skin is stretching, the skin is recovering and healing, and it's tightening up. So that's what I can say that the patches are doing. And it's incredible to still all these months later have this nerve regeneration happening where it's tingling.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. That's because I figured because you've talked so much about it, but it looks so normal.
Right?
I
Right. It
couldn't,
just looks like it looks like a little lip. And then everybody reminds me, you didn't have big lips to begin with. I'm like,
and
okay, whatever.
and that's what I was going to say because a lot of people have a very small, thin
Yeah.
lip at the top. So it
Yeah.
doesn't, because I didn't know what you looked like before, it
Right.
just looks normal. So
Yeah. Yeah. I,
amazing. Well,
I have some amazing
congratulations.
before and after pictures if you're interested, but we'll keep it out of this view, out of this conversation.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Thank
Right.
you.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
Well, Don, I really want to thank you. And John, thank you. I think we covered a lot of ground. For people, I put in a website for you to learn a little bit more, miraclereadyinfo.com. And I recommend that you get back with the person that invited you to be here. And if you didn't have anybody invite you to be here and you want to connect with any of us, please feel free to do it via Messenger. And we'll reach out and share what we know and help you get what you need and help you create your own transformation story. So,
Yeah.
Dawn, any final words, my dear?
I just want to say thank you to everybody who joined. Some of you, I know it's odd hours. Some of you gave up things to be here. I appreciate that. And I hope that you walked away with some hope, some possibility, some encouragement, and happy to support in any way that I can. Whether you're on somebody else's team or not, I'm here to answer any questions and support in any way that I can. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. That's the leader that you are, Dawn Castagna. Thank you, my dear. You're an
Thank you so much.
inspiration.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Renee Beth. I appreciate you and John as well.
You're welcome. Okay.